Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody?
This guy.
We are live.
Check him.
Welcome to the weekly Geekly podcast live stream. TWGP. That's what we're going to call it. TWGP. Makes it simple. I am joined this week, as usual, from my co-pilots. We have Syberninja over here.
Hey, what's up, Team Eric? How are y'all doing? How was y'all's
to
weekend? Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. You seem to be in the sword base there.
Shh. I hacked easily into their system and was able to get past the doors and look at the wall. It's so easy to hack their system. It's really easy.
So are you a clown now? I mean, it's fitting since you are a clown.
Of course. And we have Omega down here below.
What's going on now?
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying it and you set aside an hour to spend with us because I should have brought you remember like when you were in school you got those little Valentine's cards to write people's names on and hold their hands up to them. It's like I haven't seen actually the one thing I remember from school is doing that because it was like you get nervous like the day before you would go in that if you didn't have the cards written out or whatever and then you didn't know who you were supposed to give them to. It was pretty fun.
Or they'll be like, hey, there's a new student today, and you're like, oh, I don't have one for that student. Yeah. Oh no.
The worst ever is when somebody bought the same pack as you and you're giving out the same cards as them. That's the worst ever.
So everybody's got the same like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. It's like when you buy
Bunga.
And I know this is completely off topic, but not really though. Like when you buy a lunchbox for school and somebody else would have the same lunchbox as you, that was also pretty awesome.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
That was the worst. I would immediately get a different lunchbox.
So we have three main topics this week, and we are going to talk about what I mentioned last week, which is like concepts and ideas for what we want to see from the Marvel shows moving forward. We'll talk about that with the WandaVision stuff as much as we can within an hour. So the three topics are going to be Iron Fist Season 3. We're going to talk a bit about that. Black Widow and our opinions about the release process for that, because there is some news to do with that. And then, of course, WandaVision Episode 6, the Halloween spectacular episode. So we have a super chat here right away from Double Crit with the $2 super chat. Unless it's Colleen Wing featuring Danny Rand. No. Colleen Wing was like my favorite character on that show.
Yeah, she was dope.
And I loved her
with
Misty Knight. I think they were very...
I wish they would have a
together.
show. I just want them to have a show.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, I still have a spider on my wall, Paigey. So Spider-Man on the wall. There we go. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump into the first topic since we're talking about Iron Fist and this article that came out. Let me share this here. So a lot of us, Iron Fist was like a lukewarm show for a lot of people, especially season 1. And we'll probably get you guys' opinions on like your thoughts and opinions on that or whatever. Iron Fist Season 3 plot revealed by Finn Jones in a candid interview with Collider here. And it says here, it's been a little over 2 years since the Marvel Netflix television show Iron Fist starring Finn Jones and Jessica Henwick was canceled at Netflix. Iron Fist was the first of the Marvel Netflix slate to get cut, with the streamer slowly shuttering every show on the list: Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and The Defenders, and Punisher as well, swiftly thereafter.
Yeah.
Iron Fist cancellation was a blow. It had been running for 2 seasons despite mixed critical reception, earning a strong fan base. So before we talk about this stuff for season 3, what were your general thoughts on the 2 seasons of Iron Fist?
I thought the first one was fine, I guess. It's just the fight scenes just was not on par to what to the bar that Daredevil set. So it was kind of lacking there, but it was by the second season, it was starting to pick up, and I was like, okay, I'm interested in seeing how they're going to continue on with the third. There it goes, and it's gone.
Yeah. What about you, Simon?
I thought the first season was below average. I think I gave the whole season overall, I think maybe a 4 out of 10. It was watchable, but just barely. I think season 2 was a bit better than that, but not by much. Iron Fist didn't get good, like the actual Iron Fist, like he should be. Like, I didn't see any character growth there. And again, Colleen and Misty were the only reasons why I even continued to watch it.
Yeah, Misty was the only reason I watched it.
I was honestly not surprised that it got canceled when it did. I actually like Finn Jones. I met him in person. Nice guy. But I feel like he was I don't know. I don't know. I like the actor. I just think the Iron Fist was a misstep in Marvel, in my opinion.
So with season 1, I think I didn't mind the story arc. Like, I think the story arc was fine.
Yeah.
I think the acting in the beginning was a little bit off. I think Finn Jones didn't really connect with the character at the start. It got better as the season went on, but at the beginning it was a little weird. I think the fight scenes were absolutely atrocious. They weren't even at the level of like a network TV show, to be completely honest. Special effects were fine. I think Defenders did a lot of work with helping Iron Fist become a better character.
Yes.
We got that classic moment that I think now people remember where Daredevil and Iron Fist fought, and he got so frustrated with getting his ass kicked by Daredevil that he literally was like, I'm going to use my powers kind of thing. Because Daredevil was just that good. And so I think that was an acknowledgement that it wasn't the best it could be. And then going into season 2 of Iron Fist, we got to see a better version of that character, I think. And I think also Iron Fist season 2 showcased Colleen Wing in a better way. I mean, she was great in season 1, but she was awesome in season 2. So
I think Danny Rand became like more like, you know, the Heroes for Hire Danny Rand, which is fine. And I was hoping to see that with Luke Cage.
Oh yeah, I was really hoping for that.
What a marketing misstep for them. They could have done a Heroes for Hire show with those two, and it would have been great.
I think so. I think it would have been great. But that was one of the shows. I think that one and Jessica Jones. I mean, those were easily. They were cool in Defenders, but they were throwaway series for me. I could take them or leave them.
I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I actually enjoyed Jessica Jones, but I don't think it was at the level of the other shows. I think Jessica Jones was a good series, but
I'm the same way. It was less action and more kind of like.
It was a mystery series. It was
basically a film noir without being totally film noir.
I mean, right. So Jessica Jones was a bit outside of what I think the Defenders were in terms of this world. Plus they drastically reduced her powers. She's much more powerful than she was in the series.
Yeah.
And absolutely. So that was a little weird. I see we have a super chat. We'll get to that in just a moment, but let's read what they were planning for season 3. So if you guys didn't know and you don't want to be spoilers, let me throw this up here so you guys know. Actually, I'll just say it. Spoilers. If you haven't watched season 2 of Iron Fist and you want to watch it, because I'm going to talk about the way it ended. So the end of season 2 of Iron Fist set up the Daughters of the Dragon storyline with Misty and Colleen giving her powers. And it set up a storyline with Iron Fist where he had to travel around and basically re-become the Iron Fist. Danny Rand had to reacquire his powers. And they were going to do like a pirate type story or whatever. So we had 2 very different stories going into season 3, and this is what it says here. It says Raven Metzer, who is the showrunner for the second season, and I were sure there was going to be a season 3, so we had already devised the whole thing. I was so excited to get into that. It was really going to be about Danny finally assuming the role of the Iron Fist, fully accomplished, fully charged up, and fully control of his shit as well. It was going to be an amazing story with Danny and Ward off in foreign lands as a buddy storyline almost. And then you had Colleen in New York, isolated with this new power, struggling to come to terms with their identity and this power. At some point, we would have met up again and probably formed this crazy power couple or superhero relationship. That sounds amazing to me. That is exactly what I would have wanted from season 3.
I agree. And it probably would have went there had Netflix not canceled all the shows. I don't think they would have just canceled one of them. You know what I mean? I think they would have, if it was either all or none. Yeah, in my opinion.
But I also feel like they thought it was going to come back because it's a Marvel property. Marvel properties don't generally get canceled, so that was really weird for them. They thought for sure they're going to get that season 3, and I mean, I think everybody did, right? I mean, everybody expected that all the shows would get at least 3 seasons.
Yeah, I did not. I was shocked to see when I originally saw Iron Fist get canceled. I was like, what? Like, I get it. It was probably the worst of all the shows, second to Defenders, then probably Jessica Jones. But like, man, really? And then it started to trickle down all the other ones.
Yeah. So what about you, Omega? The storyline sound like something you would have been interested in, or? Oh, he's muted.
Yeah. So I was about to say, what could have been? It's like I said earlier, the first scene was kind of mad. It just started to pick up steam around the second. I was like, well, let's see what in third is, and it's gone. So it's like this just what could have been.
Do you think they waited too long to give us the full-blown Iron Fist? Do you think they should have done it earlier?
Yes, they should have definitely did it earlier.
I think for the series, I think for the series, absolutely. But I still think they were all going to get canceled. So I don't think that the way the story was is the reason why it got canceled. But I feel like the story could have been better if they actually had Iron Fist. Not
I actually
just a
feel like
dude
he
with a
should
glowing
have been a
fist.
full blown Iron.
yeah,
He should have been like a much more powerful Iron Fist by Defender.
Like right off the bat, yeah. Mm.
Well, maybe not in season
Well,
one,
right
but
off
I
the
think
bat,
by
but
the time
yeah,
the Defenders
Defenders,
came
yeah,
around,
definitely.
Lone Wolf here says, I would say Typhoid Mary was great in season 2. She was one of my favorite stories in season 2. Just the whole plot around her was fantastic. And I think she could have been an interesting character to bring back again if they would have wanted to do something more with her story. But, looking back at it, it's like, what can you do now, I guess?
Yeah.
So sounds great to me. Would have loved to have seen more of that. I think the Defenders was also kind of underwhelming for a lot of people. People wanted more of an Avengers type story, and they pulled it down quite a bit.
Yeah. I could see that, I guess.
But I will say I loved seeing all of them together. That was kind of cool. So
I was super hyped for the Defenders, just like I was for Infinity War. Just the show let me down in terms of how it ended.
How it ended. I mean, there's
very anticlimactic.
Yeah, certain scenes here and there I was super excited about, but overall it was fine.
Yeah, it's watchable.
Before we move into our next topic, we have Crazy Cat Lady Gamer Reviewer here, Team Eric with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I feel sorry for Darcy. She warned Monica only to end up in the hex herself. Yes. So WandaVision spoilers, guys, by the way. We haven't even got into it yet, but there we go. Yes, I feel sorry for her as well, and I'm very curious to see what's going to happen to her. And we'll have to see where it goes from there. We'll get more into that as we get further. Shane here. I liked Iron Fist. I thought the first season was a good intro for the character. The second season is better. Yeah, I think the problem with Iron Fist season 1 is it came after we had some amazing Daredevil stuff, and the fight scenes just weren't. I mean, because at the end of the day, Iron Fist is a character that's known for his hand-to-hand combat, and so
it was just hand-to-hand combat wasn't that great.
And they didn't focus enough, I feel like, on the Rand tech when they did Misty Knight's arm. There's so much more that character could have done. Yeah.
Green Arrow and the Canaries are Snyder cut. That's a cursed question, no matter which answer you give.
It doesn't matter. Pick one, two sides of the same coin.
Right. Let's see. I guess we should go ahead and move into our next topic. We're going to talk a bit about the Black Widow movie. This is something that every once in a while we have to discuss it and give our thoughts on it.
I feel like it's been 3 years.
It has been. It really. So I caught a lot of heat on this on Twitter, and I'll tell you guys why when we go through this article. So it's Black Widow still on course for theatrical release. It says, while Disney CEO Bob Chapek remains flexible about the release strategies for movies between the big screen and the studio's streaming service, Disney Plus, he said today that Marvel's long-awaited feature Black Widow is still set to be a pure theatrical release, as mentioned back at the company's December's Investors Day. Now, just a reminder, this is supposed to come out in May. So do you guys see this being viable for them as a theater-only release in May, based on the way things are right now? Because I think things will change, but that doesn't mean people are going to change their behavior by May. That's the problem. So
I don't know. It's such a toss-up, especially with the current state of the world nowadays. Who's to say really what's going to go on by May?
I mean, that's what,
I don't know.
2 months. I think it's a bad idea. I think, look, at this point, this movie is falling into, I don't even know what you would call it. It's in a pit of despair, and it hasn't even been released. I think you should put it on Disney Plus as well. Yeah. Just try to recoup some money.
Just do the dual release. The dual release with the theater and Disney Plus.
Right. So it goes on to say, we'll be watching the reopening of theaters and consumer sentiment in terms of going back to the theater. That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
We are at a situation where I think over 70% of the world's theaters are currently either closed or running at a minimum capacity, or like a fraction of what they were doing before. Not to mention, people don't feel comfortable going out. I mean, there's a big like a portion of the public that just refuses to go to the theaters right now. And I can't say what's right or wrong. It's a personal decision on what you feel like doing, but it definitely makes a difference. And then it goes on here. It goes, in regards to Soul, which, as you guys may or may not know, it's an animated feature that came out on Disney Plus, I think in December. Chapek didn't reveal any viewership figures, but merely said, we thought it was a nice thing to do for consumers and subscriber base. That is awful thing to say, because that means that it probably didn't perform as well as they wanted.
Ouch.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because it's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, it is really good. It's very, very good. But I think that by not releasing any numbers, they're not happy with what the return was on that. And then it goes on to say it was successful to the extent that we're also using the strategy on Raya and the Last Dragon, which, by the way, that's not the same strategy as Soul. Soul was released as part of the subscription. Raya and the Last Dragon is being released similar to Mulan.
We have to pay for it.
Yeah, which had a Super Bowl trailer on Sunday. It's a bit different because it will be available on Disney Plus for a premium rate as it states in theatrical. Mulan did not have a theatrical U.S. release, just offshore where it fizzled with 69.1 million due to the COVID closures of theaters abroad. Raya, I think it's Raya, debuts on March 5th in theaters, and for the extra Disney Plus premiere price of $29.99.
$80?
Yeah, that's the same thing Mulan was. It says, thanks to Soul and The Mandalorian Season 2, Disney Plus global subscribers hit 94.9 million in the quarter ending in December 31st. So, I mean, I don't really know the proper answer for this, but this is my rebuttal to a lot of people that have given me crap about my opinions on the whole theatrical window and holding tight to it. There is no way, and I want to make this very clear to everyone who's living in a fantasy world right now. There's no way that this movie is going to make the money that they want it to make with a theatrical only release in 2021. It's not going to happen.
It's going to be abysmal. Honestly, it's going to be abysmal. What was the budget for that film? Do we know?
I would say somewhere around after advertising for 3 years now, probably around the $150-200 million range.
It's not even going to make its budget back.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you put it out in theaters only, it's not going to make its money back.
I think what you could do is you release it in the theaters for 2 weeks. Okay, give it 2 weeks in the theaters, then release it on Disney Plus for another 2 weeks, right? And then take it off Disney Plus if it's not doing well. If it is doing well, leave it.
Yeah.
Play with it.
Here's the thing. This is my prediction, and I'm hoping I'm not going to be right, but I probably am. So I don't think it's coming out in March. I think that's a pipe dream. I think the March date is going to change, probably. I think it will get pushed back, and if it does, it will get pushed back into the fall.
If it gets pushed back again, the movie's dead.
I think September, October-ish, somewhere around that range is where it will get pushed back to. The only way that it doesn't get pushed back, the only way, is if they do a premium release like they did with Raya, Last Dragon, and Mulan. That's the only way this works. And I know they don't want to do it that way, but that is literally the only way this comes out.
But you got to look at it this way too, though. With Marvel, right? Most of their films, most of their properties are a massive success, right? They should just take the hit on this and give people a win. Give them Black Widow and let it be a success on Disney Plus. And it's unfortunate this movie's not going to get its due like it should have in the theaters when it was supposed to come out. But at this point, I just take the hit.
Just keep in mind, the longer this movie gets delayed, the longer everything else in Marvel gets delayed. That's the problem. That's the biggest issue I have with this. This movie will continue to put a break on everything else right now. And Anthony Beltry here, who's a Team Eric member, 1.9 super chat. Black Widow should have been a limited series on Disney. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind it being a movie. I agree that the Disney Plus thing should be an option.
I think with seeing how successful their limited series have been now, I completely agree.
Yes, but now in hindsight,
I think it should have been. But at the time, this was filmed prior to Disney Plus, and this would have been a huge success had it come out when it was supposed to. And that's just what
I have this fear that we're going to see more delays if this movie doesn't get released, and I'm just tired of it. Like, I think people are frustrated, and I think they're concerned that this movie is going to come out and it's going to be like critically split down the middle, like Wonder Woman 84 was, because of it being released at home and at theaters at the same time, because a lot of people feel like that release ruined Wonder Woman 84. What were you going to say, Omega?
Well, the Wonder Woman 84, I heard, just wasn't that great to begin with. So
yeah, but I mean, I think that's maybe their investors are worried about it. Maybe the people.
Oh yeah, because investors don't watch any of this stuff. They can care less.
Maybe they're like, oh, did you see that other female-led superhero movie that didn't do great? Like, yeah. So I think that's what they're a little bit concerned about. Do we think that it's worth all the wait? That's the question. I mean, is the movie going to be, is it a big enough deal for this to be the thing?
Probably not.
So here's the thing. This is the only thing in my mind that could be stopping them from doing it this way is contractual agreements with actors and stuff like that. and what was promised in their contract when the movie was made. Maybe that's a hurdle to overcome, but I still feel like if they release this in theaters only, it is not going to make any money. They need to do something else with it. So there's that. We have Gary here with the 1.9 super chat. Are you guys mad at me? Why are you mad at me? Tell me. Well, you can't ask and then ask us why.
I haven't talked to you since the last time you asked about Flash, and I'm pretty sure.
Not mad at you at all. Not mad at you all. So
just completely sandbag. Never mind.
Gary, I'm not pulling up that super chat.
Not even going to bring it up.
Not even going to address it. Thank you for the 199, but that's definitely not happening. Comic Cord here with a $5 super chat with no question. I'm guessing that's a donation, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you have a question, drop it in the chat. Introverted Unicorn. The hype for Black Widow was higher 2 years ago versus now. It's all because Disney wants to make their money back, but they won't. That's the thing.
No,
at this point,
just release it.
Yeah, at this point,
Disney. Give everybody a win.
Yeah. So, Ethan here. How did you guys feel about the Snyder Cut trailer? We knew you guys were going to ask.
We just saw it.
We literally
watched
it. So.
I watched it earlier, but yeah, you guys can give your thoughts.
I just saw it.
Okay, so if you're a fan of the Snyder Cut and you've been wanting it for a really long time, you're probably super hyped about the trailer. That's fine. You probably loved it or whatever. I don't think the trailer does much. I was going to watch it anyway. So the trailer doesn't really, in terms of hypeness, it's kind of irrelevant to me because of the fact that I was already going to watch the movie to begin with. So do I think that the trailer is going to change people's minds and make them tune in to like watch the movie or subscribe to HBO Plus just for this or HBO Max for this? Probably not, but it's okay. There's a lot of scenes in there that we saw that were cut out of the movie that have been redone and reworked into the film, and that's good. So I don't think the VFX are as good as I expected. Maybe I think the VFX are not as polished as I would expect from.
Yeah, because just like we were discussing, you were saying how Thanos looks, and you forget that's not a guy in a suit. That's totally CG. And then we see Darkseid in the trailer. It's like, why does this look like a PS4 CGI trailer? Yeah,
Paigey says trailer was a weird one. Thought it was going to appeal to general audience, and it did nothing to lean towards that except the Joker thing. Yeah, that's the thing is I feel like it was made specifically for the people that were already going to watch the film.
Well, like I think we had talked about it briefly. Like I said before, if you didn't watch Justice League when it was in the theater, why would you watch the Snyder Cut? I mean, you didn't know it was a bad film if you didn't go see it when it came out, right? Yeah. So why would this make you want to go see it? And then it's showing you scenes, and it's like all like supposed to be like new pretty footage, and it just wasn't. And it was more like the content that they were adding. It's like I can't fathom that they can even fit this even in a 4-hour film and make it better. It would just make it be like, oh, they had plans to do more of this crap. I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it, guys. You'll hear what I have to think about it.
Oh, we'll hear it. We'll hear.
But it's gonna be bad.
Canada Graphs release the Gary question cut. Thank you for the $2, Canada Graph. That's funny.
So stupid.
Paige says the fact that people only talk about the Joker scene says a lot. I mean, that's it. Like, I mean,
and it was really bad. I don't look. Just move on. Just move on.
Just move on.
Yeah, I mean, this is a general consensus. The trailer did nothing for me. It's so bland. Steppenwolf still looks like hot garbage. I mean, Tom goes, they really shouldn't have released the teasers leading up to the trailer. A lot of shots in the trailer were already released in the days leading up to it.
They did like 3 announcements of an announcement. How desperate are you?
This thing's probably not good.
PS4, you being generous? Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, like they look like
being generous.
They look like full motion video from Diablo 2 cuts. Now, keep in mind that's not bad. I don't want to. If I was watching a film and it was like all that, I would have been like, cool. But it's mixing with CGI real actors, really, and it doesn't look good.
There will be an after party / weekly geekly crossover specifically for the Snyder Cut. Okay, sounds good to me.
I agree. Let's do it. I don't know that you guys will get to talk.
Yeah,
but we can do it.
Yeah. So Jenna here says pure fan service to the fullest degree. I mean,
yeah, because like I'm a big fan of Darkseid, and I was like, oh, cool, Darkseid. Why? Why does he look?
Well, that's the thing is if the movie were all that, if it all looked like
if it looked
that,
just like that the whole time, yeah, I'd be like, hey, this is kind of cool.
But we're mixing that with real people.
Yeah,
And that's the problem.
We always talked about how bad Cyborg looks, and it's like,
he still looks bad.
Yeah, still looks bad.
Yeah, I was hoping, and I probably shouldn't have hoped, but I was hoping the movie was going to brighten up a bit, but it's still very muted.
Yes.
No, because I'm pretty sure that was his take on it anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind like a muted look when something is going to be somber all the way through, but I feel like this movie should have it should ramp up a bit or whatever. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens with it. I'm just not.
How are y'all going to feel when I watch it and I come out and say it's a 10 out of 10? Oof. That's going to be the biggest plot twist of the world, right?
I don't know if that's actually
who are you and what have you done to Syberninja?
Don't hold your breath.
So, Tom, I don't know if it's true or not because I haven't looked into it, but I believe that the aspect ratio is going to be adjusted to make it look older, from what I've heard.
Why?
Because it's an indulgent project from a director that wants to have full creative control. I mean,
of course, they're going to have that weird artsy fartsy aspect ratio stuff that no one cares about except for film buffs.
So Jordan said it wasn't as bad as I thought was going to be. Steppenwolf looks better. I think Steppenwolf does look better.
It looks better. It went from a 3 to a 4.
Right, but he looks better, but it's still the
problem.
He looks better. Yeah.
Okay, so let's be fair here. It is not hard to get better than what the first Steppenwolf looked like. I mean,
and also let's also take into account that they could easily just say they could take what people hated about it and fix it. So what? So they get praise for going back and fixing what was already trash. Yeah. I'm a stop.
One last bit here before we move on, because I'm tired of Maltor says, I'm tired of Warner Brothers making Superman dark, evil, or a god. He's a guy trying to help, yet he has powers, but it's not his powers that make him a hero. Give us the real Superman. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about Superman. I loved that in the Man of Steel movie, that he wasn't treated like a god. Zach went to a lot of trouble to make him feel like a real person. And then at some point between Man of Steel and BVS, he got godlike. Like it happened, that whole story arc happened without us being present for it. Like we never were privy to that at all. We never got a Man of Steel 2. So he went from like small town guy who got powers and become Superman to God figure, and over the course of like an invisible film. So, and also Zach has said before that he likes the comparison of the mythological gods with, the Justice League and stuff. And that's because a lot of those characters were created with that in mind, I guess. But the imagery is fine. I think the context doesn't have to be that. And so we'll see. Laura says, Laura, I always say Laura, did you hear that Snyder state he has no plans to make DC movies? Because I don't think they're going to work with him again after this. I think that's
all this money he spent.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Gary, 19 super chat. Are you upset with me? I'm not upset with you, Gary, and I don't want to detract from the stream by going through this, but I've asked you before to not ask questions like that. So if you want to ask questions like that and you're going to super chat with them, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pull them up on the screen and jeopardize my stream for those kinds of questions. So I'm not upset with you. I'm not mad at you, but just know that if you're going to ask stuff like that, I'm not going to address it. Look, the story where he became a godlike figure is the 6.5 hours Man of Steel Ultimate.
Wouldn't be surprised.
So, all right. So we're going to step away for a moment. I'm going to do my shout outs to everybody, and then we're going to come back and we will, talk about WandaVision and some MCU stuff. And so we'll be back in just a moment. See you guys in a second. So you may be asking yourself, how do I become a Team Eric member and help support the channel? Well, it's actually quite simple. you head down below the video you're watching right now or any video on my channel, you click the join button and it pulls up a page where you can see all the perks available to you, custom badges, emojis, exclusive content, and early access. Then you click the join button. It's that simple and it does help support the channel. Become a Team Eric member today. Thank you. And we are back.
Become a Team Eric member today.
We are back.
Not tomorrow.
Today.
Not yesterday.
Now, right this second. Click it and
Just
join. Right
click
this
that
moment.
button. If you missed the video, just click one of the other ones and just go back.
Yeah.
Or you can go back to the live stream and you can just come right back.
Frank S with a $5 super chat. I want that CGI lip left untouched. Mark of shame. Yeah. You know what's funny is I don't Omega, did you go to see the theater version with us or not?
Yeah.
I was with you. So do you remember the moment, because that first scene we get with Superman with the cell phone where the kid's recording him or whatever, when you saw his face, were you like everybody else where they're like, what are we looking at?
I completely glossed that completely glossed over me when I first saw it.
I know Cyber noticed it.
I didn't notice until
immediately.
I didn't notice it until when the Flash was, we was trying to go around him and he looked and he had that weird kind of like.
Yeah, because it's like the lip is too far. It's like it's pulled down.
Yeah, it's like
really weird.
No, I noticed it. Like, I think it starts like right at the beginning where somebody's doing like the home camera of him and he goes over to the kid and like gives him like some speed. I don't remember exactly what he said to the kid or whatever. But I remember looking at, I can't remember who was sitting next to me, but I'm like,
it's probably your wife or Frank or our friend Archon.
Let me
I mean, well, they don't know who that is, so it doesn't matter. But that's
it's probably your wife or Frank.
Just looking over, I'm like, that looks really bad. I'm like, I hope it's not like that throughout the whole film.
And it was like that.
It was.
Hold on, I want to do this.
I honestly didn't notice it till.
So here we go.
This
I'm gonna show this so we can, for context, so people know. I think this is right here. Look at this. This is the.
Oh my
God! That's the video.
Yeah,
that's the video. I saw that and I'm like, am I imagining things? As soon as the movie started, I'm like, am I imagining things? Is this really bad? Is this really bad? Yeah,
I mean, that doesn't even look like Henry Cavill to me.
It didn't even trigger when I saw it in the theater. Yeah, it's like now you can even see the shadow where they tried to take out his beard. Wow.
Yeah, there's
whoever's their
$1 million.
Dude, whoever's their CGI firm, fire them. Get someone else.
How do you get this from a movie at this level? I just don't understand it. I mean, even though they had to CGI it, there's got to be better artists out there. That
Dude, I could do better than this in Photoshop, and I barely know how to do any of this.
I'm saying, like, immediately, like after the film, somebody took, I'm pretty sure it was this scene, and redid it.
They just did clone.
And they redid it, and they did it better on freaking YouTube.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, it's bad. It is really bad.
Wow.
Gary, 1-9 super chat. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I won't again. You're fine, Gary. You're fine. Thank you for the super chat.
I forgive you, Gary.
We're not mad at you. Laura says they should have left the mustache in. I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not? Okay, Superman grew a stash, so what?
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. Paige says it's almost like they intentionally made that scene and the one in the field look so bad. All the other scenes are fine. Yeah, it is. That's the weird thing. I don't totally get it. Deep fakes. Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Fakes. Oh, yeah.
All right. So it is time to dive into the big stuff. So, WandaVision spoilers.
What? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to piece together where these people fit in that.
Yeah.
We can't talk about it.
So we're going to be talking about episode 6, which was the all new Halloween spooktacular episode, which to me, and we'll talk about it as we go through this, this wasn't at the same level as like the last 2 episodes for me in terms of like what I wanted from it. It wasn't a bad episode. And I went over this in my review, which by the way, my review will be live tomorrow for everybody who is not a Team Eric member. So if you want to get early access, you can go sign up now. But I think the episode was solid. It's just another great chapter in this WandaVision story that we have. And so now the spoilers are away. We'll pull this down. So overall thoughts before we get into dive into all the spoilers and stuff. What did you guys think? Did this episode give you what you wanted or no?
Yeah, and it left me wanting more, like every other episode in the series.
I would.
Yep. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I would agree with the episode not being like It was a great episode, but it wasn't until like the very end where you got the oh wow, I can't wait till next week. It was just a good episode. That's not bad. It just wasn't a oh my, like oh my god moments happening until the end.
Yeah.
So
this episode's intro, and maybe you guys are more familiar with this.
Yeah.
Apparently, this was based on Malcolm in the Middle. I
Yeah,
never really
that's Malcolm
watched
in the
the
Middle.
show.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a decent show.
Yeah,
it was a decent show.
I only watched like various episodes of it, but I believe that would have been a time period where I wasn't really watching a lot of TV, like the early 2000s.
Me either, but yeah, it was like late 90s, early 2000s. I really wasn't watching a lot of TV either. But
that was a big show then.
Yeah, the few shows I did watch, Malcolm in the Middle was one of them.
Not to do anything with WandaVision, but I'm pretty sure the kid that Frankie Muniz or whatever, I think he has like a bunch of, I want to say it's mini strokes, and he can't remember Malcolm in the Middle.
It's kind of sad. Yeah, he doesn't
That's
remember
tough.
any of that.
Oh, wait, the guy that played on the original series?
Yeah.
That played Malcolm in the Middle. Yeah, the young kid that it was based on, he can't remember the show.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't
Remember
know
that? Yeah, remember that movie,
That's tough.
50 First Dates or something like that?
Yeah,
it's similar to that. You just don't remember certain things. It's weird. It's kind of sad too.
Yeah.
It is.
So that was what it was based on. The intro song was fun. I did remember that from Malcolm in the Middle, and the breaking the fourth wall with the kids talking to the
talking to the camera.
Like that kind of went away after the first 5 minutes, though. I don't think they really did that. Did they do that again after the beginning? I don't think they did.
No, when the son was breaking the fourth wall and talking to us, that he did that in Malcolm in the Middle. That was
no. I mean, did it continue past that first 5 minutes of the episode? Though I don't think it did.
No,
I don't remember.
I don't think it did either. Yeah.
So they got all of the nods out of the way, like the house design and everything at the beginning. So we got to see more of this X-Men Quicksilver in the MCU, and even more mystery from this character, because I feel like we are seeing something weird going on with him.
It's like it's almost as if he knows something's going on, but he's not like saying like, oh wow, this is weird, what's going on? I was like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So I'm getting the impression more and more that Wanda had zero to do with him being there.
Yep.
What are you thinking? Thoughts on that? I feel like there's something else going on with that.
I think it's deeper than that, honestly. I think she might be doing it subconsciously when he said that he heard her, but I think that she said that she remembers at a specific point in the show, she said she remembers being alone and stricken with grief pretty much. And then this world was created. I'm curious that I think she may have had a moment where she had a weakness and like somebody took advantage of that. And so she has control, but it may not all be her.
Yeah. Because even when you talk to that, she was, I think it was Herb later on in the show. He's like, look, did you want to change it? Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that was Herb, I think, is that actor's name or that character's name.
Yeah.
Paige, you saying the mini flashbacks from Malcolm in the Middle. I didn't know that, but makes sense. So here's the thing. I think maybe she's responsible for it, but she's not responsible for it. Like, it's her powers that did it, but someone else was.
Someone else is just egging it on. So just kind of poking and prodding at the whole thing. So just basically, she set everything up, and someone else is just kind of, the behind the scenes, just pulling the strings and everything.
Yeah. So Quinlan says, I just want to ask people how they think Mephisto will fit into the MCU going forward. I've heard nothing about him being a villain in future films. So there's a question of whether or not his character even fits within what Marvel wants to do, because even though in the comics he's not a literal representation of the devil, I think it's a line that I don't know if they're going to cross. So people are saying like maybe it's another character that could do similar things that isn't Mephisto, like maybe Nightmare, which is a character from the comics that they think they're setting up for the Multiverse of Madness. Maybe Master Pandemonium is behind this. Maybe it's all Agnes. People just seem like maybe Disney and Marvel aren't going to do the devil in their content.
Maybe it's Blackheart.
I think so.
Blackheart. That would be weird.
I just reminded of from him.
He's just throwing names.
Yeah.
I think the problem. I think the problem with WandaVision is going to be the people watching it, and what I mean by that, hear me out. We are all taking this show way further than it might actually be going because of all the bones that they're throwing us. And this is what I said at the beginning of the series. This series can end a masterpiece, or it can end like Lost. Meaning, if we overhype the story that we are watching, and it doesn't deliver, is that on Disney or is that on us?
There's a lot of people that believe that the show is going to end basically prepping for the movie, like the Doctor Strange movie.
I mean, what if it is just as simple as it's just all Wanda? I mean, at that point, are we disappointed?
No, I don't think I'd be disappointed if it was all Wanda.
And that's where I love that we can sit and do theories on who it can be. I just hope it doesn't taint the show at the end. If it's like, oh, they calm Wanda down, the walls come down. There's no mutants. There's no Mephisto.
Yeah.
There's no Fantastic Four. It's just all red herrings.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
Well, here's the thing. We know Wanda is going to be in Doctor Strange, so we know she's not going to get captured by the sword, I'm assuming. So I don't think they're going to stop her. I think they may be able to stop the situation, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop Wanda. Because I think she's going to be...
She's so broken, man. Did you see what she did?
More, I'm feeling like she's going to be the villain of Doctor Strange too.
That's what I'm saying. What if this is just all Wanda, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird. The way this show was playing out, and we were talking about earlier, we were talking about her brother, and we don't know if she brought him there or not. It looks like to everyone around there, if the hex walls weren't there, they would just be walking corpses.
Yeah.
Isn't it creepy?
That is creepy. Because imagine that illusion taken away. Things would be very different right now. Very different. And we're going to talk about that in a moment in terms of like what the people in the city are doing, which is very weird.
So creepy. This episode was so dark, even though people might not realize it.
Good to see you, TC. TC does comics. Check him out, guys. I think they messed up on the release strategy. 30 minutes long with 7-minute credits. Shake my head. Release 2 episodes per week.
Yeah.
I don't like the length of the credits because it's so deceiving. I get excited when I'm like, it's 45 minutes long. And then I'm like, it's like 36 minutes long.
But it's like 2 sets of credits because it does the whole credits where it shows like scenes from that episode or whatever, or, you know, it'll show like CG and then it stops and then it goes to another set of credits.
Yeah.
I feel so trolled because I have to watch them.
I'm reading that the next 3 episodes are all going to be an hour's worth of content.
Yes, I think somebody said it in the chat, and I think that I also read it as well. They said the last 3 episodes are an hour each. Guys, don't get excited. It's going to be 30 minutes of credits. It's the same thing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So as we go through this episode, so let's jump over to Vision for a second. We'll talk about him as we get through this because he had a pretty big Vision story in this episode was pretty important for the episode. So he lies to Wanda at the beginning and tells her that he's doing the neighborhood watch, and his intention is to go out and see like what's going on in Westview. Before we jump into that, what did you think of the classic comic book costumes on?
I thought it was genius.
Absolutely
genius.
Great.
Even the Quicksilver one. And was it Billy or Tommy that was dressed up like his comic version?
Yeah, Wiccan.
Wiccan, yeah. So I was like, all of it. Again, those are all for us.
That's like kind of hand waved his Wanda. She's a Sokovian fortune teller,
which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah,
that was
I was like, that's dope. That's cool.
And he's like, it's the only thing that was in my closet.
And they said that Vision was a luchador.
Luchador.
Yeah. So
actually, he said he was a booger.
Oh, he did say that. That's true. So I also thought it was funny that he's like, it's the only thing in my closet. Like she literally cleaned his closet out, and that was the only thing in there was that costume. So why can't she control Vision? Do we know, or is she just purposely not controlling him? Because I don't think that's why I don't think Wanda's 100% behind everything.
Yeah, she ain't 100% control of this. I have no idea.
So that's why I think even though that may be the case, I think there is somebody else pulling the strings in some way. Okay, so Vision lies to Wanda and said he's doing the neighborhood watch, which he's not. He flies around, and so we get a bigger view of what things look like when Wanda's not close to people, like when she's not doing things near people. They're either completely frozen or they're looping an action, like a GIF or something, like where they just keep repeating the same thing over and over again. And I was under the impression that was happening because Wanda, they're like Sims. They're like in an RPG where you're walking around. These characters aren't actually doing anything when you're not close to them. Would you guys say that's a correct assessment, or did you take something else away from that?
It's kind of they're not within her field of attention or field of consciousness or whatever, they're literally just background characters doing background stuff. You're not going to notice them. I mean, you see them on your periphery, but that's about it.
Right. So so he's obviously not being controlled by Wanda right now. So Vision sees all this going on, and he starts to understand that this is a problem. And then off in the distance, we see Ellis Avenue, which we find out later in the episode. Wanda's like, "Don't go past Ellis Avenue," which is
that's like the barrier,
right? So, Gary, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it.
Sticker time. You need like things that like flash on your screen like it's a big party.
Yeah, we should do that. We'll work on that.
It does it over on my stream.
So I know. So Ellis Avenue is there, and that's the barrier. On the other side of that barrier is where Sword has their like facility set up and everything.
Outposts.
So she's like, "Don't go past Ellis Avenue." All right, fine. Vision flies over there, and we see, of all people, Agnes, who is very far away from where she normally is, because normally Agnes is close by.
It's on purpose.
Yes. I think she knew that Vision was going to do this, and I think she knew where he was going to go.
Yeah.
And she acted like she was frozen. Which nobody else could talk or move, but she could.
She's like, where I did a wrong turn. Where is town?
It's like, in the neighborhood you grew up in.
Which, by the way, we all know that she obviously didn't grow up there. But
clearly.
So anyway, she's there, and then he does this little Mind Stone thing where he touches her and she comes out of it or whatever. And then she drops the bombs on him. She's like, "You're an Avenger." And he's like,
"You're dead."
"What's an Avenger?" She's like, "You're dead." He's like, "What?" Yeah. And then it's like all this is going on, and she starts laughing like in this crazy, creepy,
maniacally.
Yeah. Also, she reached up, like when he first touched her head, she did like this. She went like, was she reaching for her brooch? I didn't
pick up on that. She doesn't. Yeah, she wasn't wearing it.
She wasn't wearing it, which makes me wonder if not having that on had some effect on her in this reality that she's in or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it was just there for fun. I'm not sure. But anyway, so she reaches up like that or whatever. She's like, "Am I dead?" Blah, 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 whatever. I think she totally knows what's happening, and she's playing him completely here. And so she turns around to head back towards Town Square or whatever. But he's had enough at this point. He's like, "Look, I've had enough. What is beyond the edges of the neighborhood of the city or whatever?" So he flies over to the wall, and we get what I think was the best scene in the episode, which was when Vision was walking through the barrier to get out. And I was waiting to see if he could survive outside of this reality. And it seems like he is tied to the reality in a way that I didn't expect. Like I thought maybe if he walked out, he would just disappear and it would be like the vibranium body would just fall to the ground. But that's not it. It's almost like he is literally connected to this reality, because when he tries to walk out, it's pulling him back. Like he is part of that. Did you guys get that from that?
Something just occurred to me.
Yeah.
Oh, with the little commercials, Yo Magic yogurt, and how the little kid was trying to open the thing and he was just wasting away while couldn't open the thing. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on with Vision. When he tried to break through the barrier, he had nothing to sustain him because he was being sustained by Yo Magic, Wanda's magic.
Maybe that commercial was so 90s.
Weird.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
I was thinking it was like from like the Danimals commercials and like the Crush commercials that had like the twins from. Yeah, but it had the twins from that Nickelodeon show. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. My stepsons used to watch it all the time. Oh man! Anyway, they would be like, "I'm crushing your head," and then they would crush the yogurt and eat it. Yeah, it was literally what that was.
Yep.
So much. My takeaway from the commercial was not quite that, but that makes sense as well. So Anthony here says, I think the commercial is telling us that something
Zack and Cody. Zack and Cody.
It's causing her to use incredible amounts of power that is feeding on. Maybe my takeaway was that the people in the city are basically stuck in a loop. Like they can't open the food and they're going to waste away because of the fact that they can't eat or feed themselves.
That's good too.
Because they're not able to do anything on their own without Wanda's help. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, they're going to end up waste away.
It makes sense for that as well, because them wasting away. And honestly, somebody else there, maybe Agnes, could be feeding off of their life force to keep Wanda powered. You know what I mean? Like to help her keep this world. But I don't know. But that's what I took from it as well. Yeah, sort of the same.
That's a good one too.
So before we go into what happens after, Vision walks out, let's go over the town square situation. So Quicksilver, the kids, and Wanda all go out for trick-or-treating, and they have this funny montage where he's running around and grabbing all the candy from the kids and destroying the pumpkins and all that.
As Herb is saying it.
Yeah. And we get that line from Herb where he's asking Wanda if everything's okay. Does she want anything changed? And I thought, so what? Is he in on it too? I mean, I didn't get the impression that he was totally, but it sounds to me like he is now. Like he knows.
Because in the last episode, he was talking to Agnes about Monica, and they were like, "She doesn't belong here." They both were kind of just talking to each other.
Yeah,
and he's in on it too.
So this also makes me think that all the times that Wanda was reshaping the reality or changing time, like when she rewound, that she wasn't actually rewinding, but that she was changing their memories to walk back and start over.
Yeah.
Not actually controlling time.
Basically like resetting the pieces instead of just rewinding time.
Yeah, because even
they just don't remember it.
Yeah, because even in that, once again, in the last episode, Agnes is like, okay, you want to take that? You want to take that again?
Yeah. So he does call the kids demon spawns, and that's literally their shards of Mephisto's soul from Master Pandemonium. So that's kind of interesting.
That's another one of those. That is another one of those things. Is that really what it is? Because they also threw 2 Easter eggs to Kick-Ass, which has nothing to do with the MCU.
Yeah, which I thought was good.
That's pretty cool. And then they had the scene where they showed.
I think that's just because 2 of the actors, both Quicksilver
was
wearing Kick-Ass.
Again, but that's so they mentioned that as well as the demon spawns. But also they did the movie theater when they were showing the theater, and it showed the Incredibles and the Parent Trap. A lot of people believe that the original Incredibles, when Frozone was looking for his super suit, the helicopter that spun and hit the building and blew up was the same. If you go back to Infinity War,
when
the helicopters went in, and it was like the same scene.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I mean, I just think the show has a lot. I think it has a lot of red herrings.
They're tossing a lot of weird stuff out there.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so we get that scene, and then we move into town square where all the kids are, and I realized at that moment, I'm like, wait a minute, there's kids everywhere.
Right. It didn't dawn on me until he said something.
Yeah, because he's like, where'd the kids come from? And I'm like, oh.
Before there were no kids except for those 2. Now there's kids everywhere.
So he acknowledges it, and then he has this very weird conversation with her. And we've already accepted that his memories aren't the same as hers, because earlier in the episode when they were recalling things from their childhood, his memories are different than hers. And I just chalked it up to it being like he's from the X-Men universe and she's from the Marvel universe, and maybe that's why their memories are different. But then I thought, what if it's more than that? What if his memories are different because he doesn't remember stuff like Vision doesn't remember stuff?
He doesn't even say like he got, only thing he remembers is that he got shot and in darkness.
Well, he said he was shot and then he heard her calling out to him. And then he came to her or whatever, which is actually Age of Ultron reference, which I thought was interesting.
That didn't happen to the Fox.
No, which is why I think
he's still alive.
There's something very weird with this Quicksilver.
But he also made that reference saying your dead husband can't die twice.
Right.
Oh, yeah. He'd be fine. He can't.
But that's her dead brother.
Right.
So he couldn't die twice by that same logic, right?
Right. So that's kind of weird. We also get that scene where she turns away and turns back, and it shows him with the shots from Age of Ultron and kind of glazed over like Vision was or whatever. So I'm like, I don't really know totally what's going on with this character. I'm under the impression now that he's not totally Quicksilver, but I'm also like, he's got the powers of Quicksilver, which is weird. Like, he's not Quicksilver, but he's got he can run fast. Like, if somebody's recreating these people, they're giving them their powers. That's pretty impressive. If they're giving, because Vision has the Mind Stone.
Right, which he doesn't have.
So this is some next level ish. Like this is crazy. But it's almost like he was pumping Wanda for information, asking her how she was doing this and all these other things.
I think also too, I think it was to see what she knows.
By the way, we still haven't gone back to the beekeeper yet. We haven't gone back to the beekeeper from all the way back.
Like what happened to him?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's in the advertising. He was in the poster, in the background of the poster. I don't know if that was just a nod to the 3rd episode, because that scene was a pretty big scene, and then it just went away. So I don't know what that means, or because the beekeeper went through the force field willingly. opposed to other people that are absorbed into it. So I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but definitely weird. So anyway, through all this process, we find out that the kids now have their powers. Speed has speed, and Wiccan has his Wanda powers, but a different color. I think his is blue instead of red. I think maybe was it bluish or purple? It was like a different for Wiccan's powers. They weren't.
Oh yeah, it was
like
blue.
Wanda.
It was like a blue. It was like a Rasengan ball from Naruto.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
So he can hear that his father's calling out, but Wanda can't, which makes me wonder. That's kind of interesting that he was able to hear Vision that needed help, but Wanda was unable to do that.
Well, that's because he has his
telepathy is more powerful than hers.
It's different. I think it's just different. Like, I just think it's different.
Okay,
I don't think it's the same.
So she sees that, or he tells her that, and so she's like, concentrate. And so he pinpoints where this is happening, and we're gonna get to the sword stuff in a second. I figured we'd save that to the very end because we got the stuff with Monica and Darcy. But she notices that, and she either is shifting where the hex is, or she's making it bigger. I wasn't totally
I think she's just making the whole thing bigger.
Yeah, she's.
I think she's like, you know what?
Screw it. Just
you're all coming with me.
Yeah.
I'm wondering though, like making it bigger, is she going to lose even more control over the people she has?
Absolutely. I 100% believe that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
I think she shifted because she didn't know where Vision was, but she kind of grasped from that what was being said that he was out. So she just made it bigger so that way he would come back to life.
Right.
She can always make it smaller again if she wants to, or if she can. I don't think at this point, I don't think she could just drop it. I don't think she could just drop it.
Right. So she expands it out, and everybody in Sword becomes clowns and part of a circus, which I thought was
fitting,
pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Can we talk about was it Hayward? Is that his name? Mm-hmm. Hayward?
We turned into a mustache twirling villain.
Yeah, let's talk about how he went straight bad guy in a matter of an episode, and talk about how the fight scene with Jimmy Woo, like.
Okay, yeah, I kind of had issue with that whole thing.
That I feel like the show fell apart and outside of WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that happened in the beginning parts of that Sword storyline, with the exception of like the last portion of it, felt to me like something that was written for any generic like TV show and with the military. You know,
I'm like, okay,
it was like
evil
Walker,
general
Texas Ranger
character.
bad.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. Monica and Jimmy J just completely beat up a couple of sword agents, and no one heard it.
There was people behind them. There was
didn't hear it. That's like
there. It was like a patrol unit right behind them, and they didn't see anything. And then they go into this little tent, and she's like, "Well, I'm just going to hack into their network real quick. Yeah. I'm in. Let me get these secret files." It's like, oh my god! Like
it looks like a bad episode of CSI or something.
Yeah.
So,
I get it. I get it. They need to move the story along. I'm not hating it, but I disliked it.
Well, this makes me wonder though, is Hayward just not going to be an important character? I feel like they're moving him along because maybe he's not going to be important. Cody says he thinks that he's Ultron. I'm wondering if it just means that he's just not important enough to like flesh out.
I think he's a throwaway character. Honestly.
Because here's the thing, Marvel has a history of
you could change the words around and make Hydra.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just wondering because Marvel does have a history of not totally fleshing out a lot of its villains. So it's quite possible that if he is the bad guy in the government or whatever, that he's just not being fleshed out very well.
Yeah, because when it comes to Marvel MCU villains, that we only had like what, two good ones, Killmonger and
I think there's a lot of good. I enjoy a lot of Marvel villains, but I will agree that a lot of them are very flat. Yeah. They're flat.
Yeah. I feel like Ultron could have been one of the best villains. I feel like Dormammu could have been one of the best villains, and they just did. Then they took a small villain. Well, not small. It's a big villain in that universe, but realistically, the villain itself wasn't that great. They made Vulture very deep villain.
Yeah.
And that character's trash.
I will still say one of the most exciting scenes for me in all of the MCU is when Peter opens the door to the house and the girl that he's going to prom with or whatever, that her dad is Vulture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that scene. Sorry, spoilers for Spider-Man Homecoming.
Hey, he's just killing them all. Thanos dies.
Eris dies. All right, I'll leave.
So anyway, so I think it's a little bit one-dimensional there and whatnot when it comes to the character. But we find out that Monica, who wants to go back into the Hex again, her body is changing because of her going through the Hex twice now.
Mutants.
So, well, so we use that word because in all other media, mutant would apply to what's happening to her. But in Marvel,
because it is a mutation.
It's a mutation, which would make her a mutate, not a mutant.
Yeah.
An activation to mutation is not a mutant. It is a mutate in Marvel lore.
Technically, like Spider-Man is a mutate.
Well, like Deadpool is a mutate.
Yeah.
Because it activated his latent mutations. So that's what a mutate is in Marvel.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
So
whereas mutants are born with it.
Yeah.
Right. So in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people with powers have generally been called enhanced. That's what they've been called, or they're Inhumans. That's the two terms that we've heard from them or whatever. But yeah, so enhanced seems to be the general word. So if you're not a mutant, if you're someone who is either technologically powerful, magically powerful, or you've had some sort of biological component added to you, you're considered an enhanced probably. Whereas a mutant would their powers would emerge on their own around puberty.
That's either at birth or puberty. Yeah.
Right. So I think that unless the MCU wants to change what the definition of a mutant is.
Well, they could, and I'd be okay if they did. I'd be okay with it.
So by all accounts, even if Monica and Darcy are changed because of this, they would just be enhanced. They wouldn't be mutants, according to Marvel.
Well, yeah, because they called Wanda enhanced in the Age of Ultron movie.
Exactly. Yeah. They're all considered enhanced. So the word mutant by Marvel standards from the comics would not apply to them. But that doesn't mean that the MCU couldn't do that. I don't know if any mutant purists from the comics would want them to do that, though, because that might.
I could understand their argument if they did. Yeah.
So the only reason why that may be a possibility is if they don't want to start out with these really young mutants and emerging mutants in the MCU. Because could you imagine having to start with the X-Men as they are as kids? It would take forever to get to where they some of the more interesting characters.
I feel like what I would want from the MCU, and this has nothing to do with WandaVision, but I personally would like the Avengers storylines to kind of like right now where they're kind of like there's not really an Avengers. Mm-hmm. I would love them to have an entire phase based on X-Men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just let them do their whole phase as an X-Men phase. They can do standalone films. They can do, joint ventures, and then they can have their big bad, whether it be Apocalypse or Onslaught or whatever they want to do.
Done correctly.
Exactly. Or even Dark Phoenix if they want to do that correctly. But what I'm saying is like they could do their own phase with just X-Men, and I would be 100% okay with it. Instead of trying to do them both side by side, I feel like I really feel like that would hurt the both franchises.
Yeah. Lone Wolf here with the $2 super chat. Any Team Eric member. Yo Magic Wanda uses more magic. She dies from 3 party?
From a third party.
Oh, okay. I mean, it could be. That commercial was that's one of the ones where every other commercial that we've had, I've totally been able to connect what it is.
Yeah.
This one was the one that was a little bit weird. Yeah, it was a little bit different from the rest of them. So if they introduce mutants this way, would you guys say, for example, Wanda does the Hex and the Hex covers the whole world briefly before it goes away and it activates people's mutations? That means we may get an older Wolverine, someone who becomes Wolverine in his 30s or whatever. And we could still have a younger cast with Jubilee and some of these other characters. Would you be okay with them activating their powers that way? Or would you rather it be this thing where they're born with their mutations? How would you prefer for them to do it?
See, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's so tough because the more I think about the X-Men, I don't even know which ones you would. Obviously, Wolverine would be a staple, but if it was an older Wolverine, he would still need to get his adamantium in his body, and you'd have to retell that whole story again. He wouldn't be Weapon X from Jersey. You know what I mean?
This is why I think mutants are going to be a dimensional thing. I think we're going to see extra dimensional stuff. I think the Hex is going to bring people over from another dimension, and then we're going to be dealing with them in our reality. I think that's what's going to happen. Because
that's
the only way it
fine.
makes
I'm
If
sense.
they
fine
do
with
it
that.
that way, I'd be fine with it. I mean, because comic books have ridiculous, crazy.
What
stories,
if-
Give me a
whatever.
Mojo world with Spiral all the way.
What if what if Wanda does the hex, right? What if she resets time in the MCU? What if we restart in the like this hex hits everything? It's early 2000s, and the world, the MCU world, is rebooted to the early 2000s, basically.
I wouldn't like that.
I would 100% boycott the MCU.
They built up so much and just retcon
Don't diminish it.
No,
don't diminish it. Don't.
What if
diminish
we
it.
had to do the Thanos
Don't-
saga all over again?
Yeah, don't pull a
yeah, do it all over again. No,
don't pull a reverse Star Trek.
What if
show.
all the Marvel movies are getting rebooted in this new reality so that we get a new Iron Man?
Look, in my opinion, I understand why comics reboot their series so often and make different timelines, because if someone is watching this right now or they're watching WandaVision and they want to go look at the comics, they would have to go really far back to see the original Scarlet Witch. So they reboot a series so somebody can get into it and have a different take on the character.
Kang is going to be the big bad. That's time travel, and we need the Fantastic Four. Just saying.
But I think that in the movie sense of it, no. If the story's been told, I understand rebooting Spider-Man 400 times, but no, I'm done with time travel. They already screwed it up in Endgame. I don't want it restarted.
If Kang is going to
again.
be involved, there's going to be time travel to some.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but this is how they're going to explain mutants from the Hex. They can't change everything. That would mess everyone up. Just makes no sense to me. I mean, that's true. So,
but we all agree that Monica is 100% going to get powers out of this, right?
This actually makes sense. I think the Eternals is going to plant the mutant seeds. That might actually be, because that takes place like thousands of years ago. So.
That's true.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's not pull a reverse Star Trek Discovery where they completely go forward in future and completely retcon the entire first 2 seasons.
Yeah,
I think that Monica, though, since they said she went in twice, and she's been changed twice or whatever, I think that hers is going to give her powers.
I do believe that some people after this whole Hex thing will have powers. There are going to be some people that are going to get powers from this.
Darcy?
Obviously.
So what do we think? She's an original character, right? She's not somebody from the comics.
Right.
She was just a side character in Thor. So technically they could just throw her away, but do we see more coming from her? Or do we think she's done?
Question. That's a really, really good question.
Because everyone turned into something specific, like the clowns and the helicopter turned into an air balloon. She was handcuffed to a vehicle. So is she just not now? Like, it's going to be very weird.
Introverted Unicorn here with the $5 super chat and a Team Eric member. Then what enhanced powers will the Beekeeper have? He went through the barrier. I don't know. That's the thing is I'm still very confused on that, because it seemed like such an important scene, and then the shit hit the fan basically, and everything just kind of went falling off the cliff. So
he has the power to control bees.
Darcy is going to turn, when she gets hot, she turns into a car, but when she cools off, she turns back to normal. Like that one bad cartoon that was out in the 80s. Yeah,
what, Mask?
No, I forget what it was called.
I saw this as well. That she already confirmed she's doing more projects as Darcy. So I don't think Darcy's a going away character.
She'll probably just be fine.
I wouldn't be surprised if Darcy shows up in Doctor Strange too, because that seems like the most likely place.
I mean, she's been in crazy stuff with Thor, so this would be right up her alley. That's fine.
Let's see. Where's another one here?
Queen.
Oh, geez. Pagey. I'm not even going to comment. I'm just going to pop it up there.
Or was it like GoBots? Was it GoBots?
Yeah.
Turbo Team. That's what it was. Thanks, Harper.
They're not going to give everyone who entered Hex powers. I don't think everyone's going to get it. I think
probably not everyone.
I think the possibility of giving people powers who have been in the Hex is a better explanation than some other ways that we've seen people get powers.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be like specific to a few people, like Monica, because she had dealt with it in different manner.
She went in on her own. She was kicked out, and she's going to go in again. Yeah. So I think that's the thing, because you got to remember they said that's the energy from like the Big Bang. So we're talking about a lot of cosmic energy here. Could Darcy be in Thor: Love and Thunder movie? Well, it's filming right now.
More than likely.
Yeah, it's filming right now, so she would be available.
I think so. She was in the other two. I don't see why she wouldn't be in this one.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad thing at all. So, other than that, I think that maybe we'll see the kids age up soon. I think they're going to be teenager soon.
Who do we think that Jimmy Woo and Monica are going to meet? Do we have any ideas?
I don't know if that person is going to be as important as people want them to be. I would love for it to be Reed Richards or someone like that, but I just don't know if that,
Professor Xavier. No,
because it could be so many other people besides Reed Richards. It could be just some person.
Yeah,
you know, it could be, what is his name, Dr. Selvig. It could be from Thor, the doctor who went crazy and started running around.
It could be. It very well could be, because I mean, he knows Darcy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like there's options for who it could be or whatever. What if it's the Hulk? I mean, no, he's a bioengineer, but you know, it's still, it could be anybody. It really could. Honestly.
What if it's Loki? I'm just kidding, guys. I'm kidding. It's not.
What if it's Wolverine? I mean, it could be.
Oh dear God! Please no. I mean, I like Wolverine and all, but come on.
What if it's Deadpool?
That'd be funny. It'd be funny.
Tom said, "What do you guys think?" I thought he was going to say, "What if it was Luke Skywalker?" But it says, "What's the type cameo?" Really, no, I think Quicksilver was the Luke Skywalker cameo.
I actually think if it is going to set up Doctor Strange, then the cameo is going to be Doctor Strange. That's what I think.
That'd be cool.
Well, look, here we go. Harper 5. So when do you guys think Doctor Strange will show up? I think if he's going to be on this, it'll be the last episode.
I'll say either this next coming episode or the last one. Yeah.
The only reason why is because I think
he's just going to show up and be like, boom, bow, boom, and take it out.
So do we think he's going to come in by request, or is he going to know something's wrong and just show up?
I think he's just going to show up, because he knows when there's like stuff happening, and if it infringes on anything that they are trying to hold sacred, he's going to show up.
Mm-hmm. Genesis Hank McCoy. Cat. So the Beast is going to be there with the.
That'd be amazing if he did.
So
I mean, all those are good. I mean, I'm fine with any of those, as long as they
Cody says Blue Marvel. I don't know about that. Adam Brashear, I think, is Eric Brashear. Is it Adam or Eric? I just know him as Blue Marvel, but I know his last name is Brashear, I believe. He's a cool character.
What is Hank Pym? He's not an aerospace engineer, right? He's just
he's quantum physicist.
Yeah, he's quantum physicist.
He might. Well,
what if it's Bruce Wayne? Yep. It's Bruce Wayne. It's the WandaVision Snyder's cut.
I wouldn't even poo-poo it, honestly.
Somebody said Mia Smoke. Please no.
Who?
I think everybody would love to see, and I know I would love to see, Doctor Strange fighting against Wanda. That would be.
That'd be dope.
That would be an incredible battle.
I agree. Magic versus magic. I mean, that's why I was so angry in Doctor Strange 2 when he fought Dormammu, and it was so lackluster. It was cool that he tricked him, but that character is so powerful. And for that person that could be a Thanos level bad guy to just be, don't ever come again. It's like, come on, man. But anyway, let's keep it moving.
I always go back once in a while on YouTube
Doctor Strange 2
and watch
what about Doctor Strange 2?
What about it?
You said in Doctor Strange 2 he was fighting Dormammu, but there wasn't.
Oh, did I say 2? Yeah. Well, I meant as well.
I love to go back and watch.
I don't even know if that's accurate.
So my favorite scenes to watch, to go back and watch, obviously, is the Thor scene where he returns to Wakanda. That's one of my favorite scenes from those two films. I love to watch the Wanda versus Thanos scene. That's one of my favorites. But my Doctor Strange versus Thanos scene is also one of my favorites. Yeah. And I think the Iron Man scene is okay, but he's not fighting him at full power, which is kind of unfortunate. Where the nanobots are protecting Tony and all that, which is kind of cool. But yeah, again, not full power. But I would love to see, because here's the thing is Doctor Strange doesn't have the same, I guess, relationship with Wanda as some of the other Avengers, because he was kind of late to the game with doing stuff. Yeah. So he's not going to go into it pulling punches with her because he doesn't even really
know who she is.
Know her.
Actually, I don't think they've ever met.
I think they fought in the same battle together, but they didn't stop and have a conversation.
Yeah, they were at Tony's funeral.
Yeah, so
can we just do a quick throwback to when Hulk fought Thanos and got absolutely demolished? Yet Iron Man went toe to toe. But look, Iron Man went toe to toe with him and drew blood,
and he had more stones when he fought Iron Man.
Yeah, can we just appreciate how crap that was?
Yeah. Yeah, fuck
That's fine.
Thanos
That's fine.
got straight
I have
infinite.
a theory before we wrap this up. My theory is that I don't think they knew what to do with the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, they just punked him and then just said because he was too strong. It's like, you know what? If he would have ended it right there, it would have been like, well, there's
Could
the
you
movie.
imagine, just for a second, sit back, just imagine for a second. We're on the border of Wakanda while the fight's going on, and you have the Hulk at full power. That would have been a one and done. He would have destroyed all of that stuff. Like literally destroyed it. Like I think he would have.
He would have been the Thor moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Like who was there? So Proxima was there for that fight.
Yeah.
Corvus was. Wait, was Corvus doing the?
They were all there.
Yeah, but
the
Corvus
only one that wasn't. Yeah, he went to go get Vision.
Right. So Cull and Proxima were the ones on the battlefield, right? Or the fight at the border, correct? Those were the two that were there.
Yeah, because Hulk was in the Hulkbuster suit when he fought and they sent him up to the border and he blew up.
I would want to see Hulk fight Cull Obsidian as the Hulk.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to see.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, right? Like, could you imagine when they're all standing there and he's like, "All right, go ahead, turn green guy at New York," and he couldn't turn into Hulk. If he'd have turned into Hulk there, Strange would have never been caught.
We still don't even really know why the Hulk didn't turn back into the Hulk.
Speed. I don't care what they say. He got worked and he was scared. He's like, I'm done. I don't want to fight no more. Thanos made him rage quit.
Also, let's be fair.
Disconnected.
But besides that, they talked about how Thanos was a trained fighter who had been training for a very, very long fight.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
And I agree with that. But the Hulk had been fighting in an arena. Hulk. No, he'd been fighting in the arena against a lot of different people, like a lot of different aliens. How did he get worked that bad by Thanos? When Captain America was like this.
That beating that he took from Thanos, dude, when I was in the theater, I was like,
he got infinite. He got hit with the infinite.
So Dark Shadow says because he was scared. I don't know any Hulk fan who is satisfied with the way Hulk was treated in the MCU.
Yeah, no, he got punked. Yeah, he got punked. But anyway, I was throwing off on a tangent. I just thought it was funny that Iron Man drew blood from him, but Hulk couldn't surprise him.
So from the standpoint of a storytelling element, I get what they wanted to do. They wanted to establish how badass Thanos is.
And to do that, you take out the biggest gun, right?
But I do think that the Hulk should have recovered by the time we got to Endgame so that we could have had a proper Hulk
Thanos rematch.
Right.
I'd love to have seen a rematch.
It was weird. I just feel like they didn't like out of all the characters in the MCU, I think the Hulk is the one that the writers just do not understand. They just don't. And it's unfortunate because I think Hulk in Age of Ultron was good. And like out of all the things in Age of Ultron, I love seeing him do all the things he did in Age of Ultron. But if you want to ask me like quintessential Hulk, like the Hulk that I like seeing, the New York battle at the end of the first Avengers movie.
Yeah. He just goes buck
that's
wild.
The Hulk. Even in Age of Ultron, he got punked a little bit, tiny bit, but not as much as he did in Infinity War.
Age of Ultron was just a meh movie. Like I said, I watched that more often. I watched it today, so it is what it is. But
I mean,
yeah,
Hulkbuster, come on, dope. That was a dope battle.
Go to sleep.
That was a bad. Okay. That was a dope fight. Anyway, but yeah, so we're completely off on a different tangent. But anyway,
100%.
So basically, I'm hoping Doctor Strange shows up at the end of WandaVision. That is my prediction for the end of the series. I'd like to see that set up Multiverse of Madness. But I also want a definitive ending for WandaVision. Like,
yes,
I'm okay with them setting up the Multiverse of Madness, but I want whatever is going on the show to have somewhat of a wrap up and an explanation. Because I don't think there's a planned season 2. I think this is a limited series. That's my thoughts on it. What about you guys? What are your opinions for what you'd like to see moving forward on WandaVision before we wrap up the stream? 10-minute warning, folks. Actually, 5-minute warning.
I want the series to, if they don't address the red herrings, I want it to at least be, like you said, finished product. I want to be able to go back and watch it, binge watch it again, and finish it, and not have to be like, oh, I need to go watch something else now. Mm-hmm. I want it to be a standalone series that can almost after, like not after credit scenes, but say, okay, well now they're going to move on to this and be okay with that. So far I'm happy with it. I have been very careful trying not to overhype myself because I will be disappointed if all this stuff that we're nitpicking in the back where we're like, oh, this person's here, came from issue 276 of Avengers back in 1967. Does that mean they're introducing this? I don't want to do that anymore. It's fun to play with and it's fun to theorize, but it's going to ultimately hurt my opinion of the show if they don't address it. So I just want to sit back and enjoy the ride for the next 3 episodes. And please, let's not have 30 minutes of credits. Please.
All right. What about you, Omega?
Yeah, I'm just interested in. I'm just interested in seeing where they're going to go with this. I really don't have any sort of expectations or anything. I'm just along for the ride.
So you're like just like whatever's going to happen.
Whatever happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, if it like just ends on a dud, and yeah, I'd be kind of upset. But I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah. We got a $5 super chat from Introverted Unicorn. I thought Abomination was supposed to come back in phase 4. I mean, Abomination could still come back.
It's supposed to be the She-Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it supposed to be the She-Hulk?
I think he's actually supposed to be the villain of She-Hulk, correct?
Oh, really?
I think that's what it's supposed to be. So She-Hulk is also supposed to be a comedy, so I don't know
because
how it's going to work.
Well, essentially, She-Hulk is highbrow Deadpool.
Yeah.
So I could totally see that happening.
But she's not weak. That's the thing, is I think she could fight Abomination. But I mean, I'm just saying I don't know how they're going to do that. Possibly. We'll see. We had another super chat here from Silhouetted Animator, $2 super chat. WandaVision could be interpretive like Legion. I mean, possibly. I didn't watch all of Legion. It wasn't really my favorite show. I watched the first season of it. But I could see them doing something like that. I just don't think that's Marvel's. I think that aspect of storytelling was kind of locked to the Fox stuff. I don't think Marvel's going to follow that. But we could see. We could see where it goes. So yeah. So She-Hulk, Cody says 10 30-minute episodes. Okay. I'm down for that.
Okay.
I'm going to address this now because I don't want people to continue to ask me about it, and I don't want to dive too much into it because we're almost done. But thoughts on Gina Carano getting fired from The Mandalorian? I'm going to make it very simple because a lot of people have been begging to know what my opinion of it is. Oh, there he goes. $2 super chat. Same question. Thank you, Tom. So here's the thing. I'm in the camp of, if I'm not the target of the offending material, then I don't have the decision to say if it's offensive or not. So if somebody does something that offends a minority group or a group of people who are the target of the offending content that's being put out, then if they're bothered by it, then my job is to just accept that they're bothered by it and understand that it is a problem. So I can't say that I reacted viscerally to some of the stuff she said, but I also wasn't the target of the things that she was saying. So for me, as someone in a position of privilege where I wasn't the person being talked about, it's really difficult for me to defend what she did because I don't know what it's like to be the person on the other side of that. So for me, trying to defend her or say she's right or wrong or whatever, it is a personal thing between the people that were offended and the groups that were offended. And since that was not me, then I'm not going to speak out on behalf of them, because marginalized voices need to speak for themselves, because that's the problem, is people speaking for other people. And so I'm not going to do that. But I will say, when it comes to the contractual side of it, which really is the big debate and the freedom of speech thing, no one is saying that she couldn't say that. She wasn't fired because she was conservative. She wasn't fired because she was Republican. She wasn't being fired for any of those reasons. What really got her fired was the fact that she continued to do something that she knew was probably something that her agent, her PR person, and Disney had said, hey, look, your contract has a morality clause. You're going to screw up our business. We have Jewish people that work for us. We push diversity. Those are the things that are part of our values. And therefore, this gray area, which is a morality clause, which honestly is probably in any contract you do with a large company anymore. They said,
I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, you are going to we're going to let you go because this is not what we represent. And the path you're going down is your path. Bless you in whatever you're going to do and whatever your future may be, but we can't be a part of that. So we're letting you go. So she was fired from a job for that reason. So 100%. That is really what it boils down to. As far as her being quote unquote canceled, she already has another gig. She's working for Ben Shapiro. She's got other stuff going on. She's still got her Twitter. She's got a voice. She's got a platform. She's got followers. This whole idea of her being canceled is a buzzword to drum up support for whatever it is she's doing.
And basically just to get people to click.
Yes. So that's my opinion about it. I liked her on the series. I thought she was really, really good in the role. I can understand why people liked her. Never had a problem with that. But from the standpoint of what she did, it is not my place to speak for the people that were offended by her stuff. So if that bothered you and it was a problem for you, then you are the people in the group that actually make that decision for yourself. I can't do that for you. So her being fired was a contractual thing. If you want to support her, there's nothing I can say to change your mind. If you don't want to support her, there's nothing I can do to change your mind. So my opinion is 100% my opinion about it. And whatever she does in the future, do whatever you got to do. I understand why they let her go. And that's
that's pretty much all I would say about it.
One thing I kind of wanted, a few things actually, was basically my whole problem with it. I really don't agree with her being fired, but my whole issue with it was, why is Twitter determining who makes a living and who doesn't? That's my whole thing.
It wasn't Twitter though.
Yeah, I know. But still, they raised a huge stink about it, which got Disney's attention. Then they had the morality clause come. It's just like,
but they didn't. Gina did.
Yeah, she did it knowing what the repercussions were going to be.
And it wasn't on Twitter, it was on Instagram.
Let me say,
however,
this
people
is
on Twitter also, but however, there's people who say worse things on Twitter, but being that they follow the Twitter mob, no one says anything about it.
But that's how it is with everything, right? I mean, anytime you're part of a group, the group that you're with is going to support you no matter what. So if there's an opposing group, they're going to come after you. That's just the way Twitter is. Like if you look at all the fandoms fight within each other's, like they're fighting within multiple groups within fandoms, right? And that's the way it works. Her situation is different though, because we're not talking about stuff she did 10 years ago where they went back and dug it up and then petitioned to get her fired. We're talking about stuff that she was actively doing even after she was probably told this is going to affect her career.
Yeah, like, so I'm not really upset.
That's why it's a different situation.
I get it, but
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like any job you have and you're working for a company. If you choose to break the rules or violate your contract, how do I feel sorry for you for that?
Yeah, that's why I kind of don't feel sorry.
You're breaking the rules.
Yeah, she should have calmed down a long time ago.
Now, here's the thing. Had she, and I've said this before, had she 10 years ago tweeted out some stupid jokes and people went back and pulled those jokes up and said she needs to be fired from The Mandalorian now for jokes that she did 10 years ago, we'd be having a completely different conversation. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Yeah, because
she actively doubled down on everything that she did.
Yeah, because if you remember, there was an interview that Wayne Brady did a while back. You know how everyone say he was just kind of just white bread, want to act white, black dude and all that stuff. They was giving him crap for all that. But he was like, look, Disney is paying me. Disney has very strict public image law clauses in their contracts. Disney was paying me. I had to go by their rules. He's like, I keep my private life private, and
that's just it. That's it. When you're under a contract, you're under a contract. That's just the way it works.
Well, any job you're at, when you're a public figure of that stature, when you're representing a brand, you're representing them on and off the clock. I can't wear the shirt of the company I work for and go say whatever I want. I can't.
Right.
I will lose my job. That's how it works. If you don't like that Disney fired her, don't support Disney.
Right. That's it.
That's literally all you can do.
She's not going to apologize for what she did, and I'm not here to tell her if she should or not. Like
she can say whatever she wants. She can feel however she wants to feel. I am not the
police of somebody's personal life and their opinions. That is not what I'm here to do. She's doubled down on what she feels, and whether or not you believe it's wrong, it's right. Whether you're offended by it, you're not offended by it. When it comes to her relationship with Disney, if she's not willing to let it go and apologize to get her job back, they're not going to rehire her. It's just that simple. And also this whataboutism, which a lot of people use nowadays.
That's popular.
You cannot compare every single situation with each other. They're not all interchangeable. You can't go, well, so-and-so did this, so what about this? We have no idea what conversations happened behind the scenes. We don't know
how she was on set. She could have acted that way with her coworkers.
That's what I'm saying. There's a million reasons why this could be happening, which is why I say, if you want to support her,
support her. But I support Disney's.
Don't.
I support Disney's firing.
I am not here to speak for marginalized groups that feel oppressed, because that is disingenuous to them. It's wrong for them. If they want my support and they want my allyism and they want me to help out with things, I am totally ready to do that because I do believe that is something that I like taking part in. But I think speaking for people that are marginalized or speaking for people that are offended is the wrong thing to do. I think that their voices need to be uplifted. I would rather retweet someone from a group that has been targeted who feels that their voice needs to be heard and give them that visibility than me trying to speak for someone else on their behalf, because I think that's wrong. And I think at the end of the day, we have to remember that we can't dictate what offends someone. You can say it doesn't offend me, but that doesn't mean it doesn't offend someone else. And that's the way I look at this.
And being offended and not being offended, being on the right, being on the left, none of that matters. In terms of the Disney contract, if they didn't like you and they didn't like what you were representing, you don't work for them anymore. I, for one, support her being gone. It's a shame because Cara Dune was a great character, but I mean, I don't.
Here's Steven's comment. I saw him made a couple comments. I do want to address this because I still want to double down on this. What happened to her wasn't the same as what cancel culture has done, because she still has a job. She's still working. She still has support. She still has a platform. Cancel culture is Kevin Spacey. Cancel culture is when you lose everything you have. It's not losing a job. That is not what cancel culture is. She has not been quote unquote canceled. And so she still has a platform. The fact that she's still able to speak out means that she hasn't been canceled. So she's warning against cancel culture. We're not talking about digging up old stuff that she's done. We're talking about things that she was actively doing that went against her contractual agreements with a company, with a person that she was employed with. No one is telling her she can't say that, but she knew that according to the contract that she signed, that she agreed to that. So if she didn't think that the control over her was worth what she needed to speak on, then she should have just walked away from it. So it's not the same thing as being canceled by a mob. It is her doing things to actively get her fired. That is the problem. Because there have been a lot of people that have outcried to get people fired in a mob mentality, and they don't get fired. It's happened a lot. There are people that they've attempted to cancel people for things, and it hasn't worked. What happened here was she literally broke her contract. So Laura here says cancel culture is like Hartley Sawyer from The Flash. And I would say in this instance, they went back and found tweets from him from like 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they used them to get him fired from the show off season. So that is canceled. He probably won't ever work in this industry again. Maybe 20 years from now. He's essentially been completely canceled. That is completely different from what's happening to Gina. Gina has a lot of support. The fact that there are people here supporting her right now in the chat tells me she's not been canceled.
Not canceled, right?
So you can disagree with me all you want.
She'll be fine. She'll be fine. The people like the Cara Dune character is suffering. That's like she'll be fine. Disney will be fine without her. She'll be fine without Disney.
Like I said, it comes down to what you want to do. If you want to support her, then go ahead and support her. Hashtag support, blah, blah, blah. If you want to cancel her, hashtag cancel her, whatever. I don't get into those movements because we don't know all the information. And I'm not going to make a decision on an actor or an actress or somebody whose livelihood is on the line based on just stuff that's being posted out on Twitter and Facebook and places like that. I don't agree with the stuff she did, but when it comes down to her job, that's ultimately a decision between her and Disney.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there we go. So
those Disney checks were worth it.
Yeah. So double crit, cancel culture. Why do I have to go over this again? She did stuff that was against her contract. Put a period on the end of that. I'm sorry that you guys don't see it that way. That's exactly what happened. Disney didn't want. Do you realize how bad this would have been for the Disney brand? I mean, come on. Come on. What fantasy world are we living in here? There was no way they were going to let her continue to do that. Like they had, and Disney employs conservative and Republican people, so she wasn't fired for that reason. It's just weird. It's just weird. I just made a decision. What decision did I make? I didn't say whether she should have been fired or hired. I never agreed to any of that. I said I didn't like the stuff that she was posting on social media. Y'all really like to put words in people's mouths. I never said anything like that. I never said that. I said I understand why Disney got rid of her.
I support the fact that she was let go because I can understand why, and I don't follow her on social media, and I wish her the best in her future endeavors, but she does not represent the values in which I hold dear. So
gotcha. Double gotcha. Sorry.
She's She'll be fine. I'll be fine. But I'll miss her on the show. I don't miss her otherwise. I don't follow her.
I'm not playing whataboutism in the comments, guys. You can keep dropping names. That's fine. I'm not going to do that because, like I just said, every situation is different, and there are details in every situation that we are not privy to. Steven goes, 499. I don't agree, but I like your content. Well, that's the thing I'm not telling you so thank you for the super chat, by the way. No one has to agree with me here. I'm not here to, I just said I'm not here to change anybody's opinion. I'm not the opinion police. Never been that. We are here to talk and have conversations. This subject is just a subject that I wanted to get out of the way before we came back next week and it was still going on or whatever. Is whatever you feel. If you want to support Gina, then by all means do it. I'm not telling you not to. If you want to continue to hashtag and try to cancel her career, then that's on you as well. That's totally up to you. I don't get involved in that stuff. Like, it's just not something that I get involved with. I just don't. I will give you my personal opinion, but I'm not going to campaign for any of that stuff. It's just not what I do.
Yeah, I actually subscribe to some of those YouTubers that will completely push a lot of that stuff. And I look at those videos and I'm just like, this is so completely and totally one-sided.
You get into an echo chamber. That's the problem.
That's the thing.
I don't like echo chambers.
And it's
I don't
dangerous.
like that.
It's so dangerous. Yes.
Yeah.
I really love to hear what people feel on both sides, but that doesn't mean I can't have my own opinion. And that's really what it is. So anyway, we're like 5 minutes over our normal ending time.
I have to use bathrooms.
Yeah. So we're gonna get out of here.
Excuse me.
Quick chat. WandaVision, what was your score?
Yeah, drop scores.
That's what we do
drop
here.
Scores. Drop
9.
Scores.
I was going to say now 9. Straight 9. I wanted to give it a 10, but that one scene with the sword and Jimmy and Monica beating up people in front of everybody.
I think in my review, spoiler alert, because you guys will probably see it tomorrow, but in my review, I did a 7.5, I think is what I gave it. Only because I think the military stuff really dragged it down for me.
I agree. That stuff for me, I give it a 7.5. I give it an 8. I'll give it an 8 because I really enjoyed it. I wasn't thrown off too much by those moments, but I kind of was. So it's like, I take a couple points off, but it was really good. I can't wait for next week. I think the whole series as a whole has a potential again to be a 10, but we got to wait till it finishes to see what happens.
Yeah. So there we go. I'm seeing a lot of a variety of 2.
Dang.
Wow.
Did you misclick? Was it supposed to be a 1 and a 0?
I mean, geez, a 2.
Dang.
Yeah. Wow. That's 2. I don't even know where to go there, but everybody seems to be between like a 7 and a 9 seems to be the average, which is fine. Anyway, so we're out of here. I'm going to throw up the video here. I'm going to toss up the video here. We're not going to do our normal outro. Syberninja here, Twitch TV. Go check him out. And Omega Weltall. All his info is going to be in the info box down below. So
I'll be 39 in 2 days.
Oh, well, happy early birthday.
Yeah, youngin.
I would have actually.
You youngin.
I'm an adult.
Yeah. All right. We're out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.